All right, welcome to the Robert Show. Super excited to be here at Qlik AI Reality Tour in Mumbai. And look who I have with me, Ankit Mogra, Head of Research and Analytics at Ather Energy. Welcome to the Qlik AI Reality Tour, Ankit.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Ravit, for having me on your show.
Yeah, it is such a pleasure to be on, to get you on the show. Obviously, I saw you winning the award. Congratulations for that. All the great contributions that you and Ather Energy are doing is fantastic.
I think thank you, and I think that's also thanks to the brilliant partners in terms of technology partners like Qlik having on our side.
Yeah.
Congrats to you. Pretty soon 700K, touching 700K on YouTube.
Thank you. Thank you. No, I really appreciate, the kind words in, yeah, it's always a journey when it's, Qlik in the customers that they have, the partners. I would love to know a little about Ather Energy and what is your role at the organization?
Sure. So Ather Energy is, if I may kind of choose those words, is a born electric, probably India's first born electric and leading one of those leading electric two-wheeler manufacturers.
Right.
And we currently are not just into electric two-wheelers, but it's the entire ecosystem that we kind of are working towards.
Right.
And when I say ecosystem, we have charging infrastructure, we have accessories, which are digital and smart accessories now. So all of that put together makes it, and plus of course, to top it up, there's a great software that we are very super proud of. All of that is in-house, built in-house. So that's about Ather Energy. My role at Ather Energy, I had the data analytics, including of course consumer research, customer research. That's the charter that I lead, is to kind of harness all the data sources that we get from varied places and make sense out of it, and probably promote the data first as a culture within the organization.
Yeah, thanks for sharing those insights. It is definitely something pretty interesting stuff that you all are doing in this space. The electrification of travel creates huge volumes of data, right? So what challenges do you face as you try to harness information from your scooter network, manufacturing plants and charging network?
First thing, which I always kind of say it in multiple places, when I joined the organization, I was also thinking that it's more like an automotive space that I'm joining. But after joining and after of course learning, discovering in terms of the kind of or the quantum of data that we collect, the variety of data, be it telematics in terms of the vehicle telematics or the manufacturing data which is real time. So collecting all of that data real time, and even charging grid, that's also real time. So collecting all of that data real time obviously produces or gives us quantum of data which is unfathomable, like it is humongous in terms of its size. So that of course is very huge. So that creates the kind of challenge that we are talking of. So it's very difficult, one, to even collect, then clean. The fundamentals that we were talking of today, which Mike was also talking of in terms of even before you scale up any AI or predictive modeling data sets or machine learning, applying machine learning at scale. Doing it for a pilot is one thing, but applying those at a scale requires you to have an entire layer very clean and coming to you in a manner which is very uninterrupted.
Yeah.
So that I think is something which becomes a challenge when you have such a quantum of data.
No, I think those are fantastic insights, and also the data foundation when it comes to AI, which has been the topic of the show as well at Qlik AI Reality Tour, where you need to have that strong data foundation to make sure where you can go ahead in the game of AI as well. So those are fantastic insights.
In fact, Ravit, it just doesn't stop at collecting and cleansing. It also creates a challenge of, I would say, SEP, which is not systematic equity plan, but your scalability, because today we are growing at a size and at a pace which makes it all the more difficult. So imagine 1 year back if there were X number of vehicles, today there are 2X on the road. Tomorrow it becomes 4X on the road.
True.
So with all that IoT kind of vehicles, and I keep saying that it's less automotive, more IoT as a product.
Right.
So that with that quantum which is multiplying so fast, with the industry, with the company which is growing faster than the industry, so that kind of units in operation of vehicles on road, that scale is really kind of very difficult to kind of manage, and the data that it's creating. And then efficiency of managing that data, And last part is of course managing the cost, keeping that kind of quantum of the data in control, and privacy of customers.
Exactly.
Data privacy is utmost important for
True.
us as an organization, for us as a country of course.
Mm.
So that's also equally challenging with that kind of content.
I love it. And you mentioned about data privacy and data governance, which kind of plays a very important role in this field. So nothing better than that, and you all take care of that pretty much very well. So thanks for sharing that. Also, quickly wanting to learn a little about how have you invested in your data processes with Qlik to address these challenges? Any thoughts around those lines?
Sure. So about 2.5, 3 years ago, we were evaluating different BI and data sciences platform.
Right.
And as a part of the roadmap that we were kind of drafting and creating for Ather Energy in the field for the function of data analytics, we wanted a platform which should have probably 3 eyes as we had crafted, and those 3 eyes were intelligent, insightful, and integrated.
Nice.
And when you look back here today, whether those features were released a year ago, year and a half ago, or whether these are the features which are in pipeline,
right,
you see suddenly all those features falling into these 3 buckets. Now you think of Qlik Answers, which you heard today.
Exactly.
You think of Auto ML, which you hear today. You think of Insight Advisor, which you heard today.
Right.
And some which were not probably called out, which was Cognitive or Associative Engine, which is a secret sauce of Qlik, which has been there for kind of umpteen number of years now.
Yeah.
There are multiple such features which fall into this 3, which is integrated, insightful, and intelligent as a platform. And no wonder why Qlik is Gartner's Magic Quadrant 14th year in a row.
Yeah.
It's in the top box.
Yeah.
You have to innovate constantly for 14 years to be there in the Gartner Magic Quadrant.
True. No, I agree 100%. It takes a lot in terms of, obviously because I'm a Gartner ambassador myself, I know how how difficult it is, because you need to be, like you said, innovative, but at the same time you need to be very much on the top of what the customers need, and at the same time how quickly you're kind of getting into the newer competitions, the newer technologies as well. So that's very true. I'm also kind of curious to learn a little about the benefits that you've seen working with Qlik. You mentioned a few, and also what it meant for organizations' overall data culture. Like, how do you see that?
I think that's where I would probably talk of 2 parts to the culture. Let me first talk of how did it benefit working with the Qlik as an organization, I would probably say.
Right.
And here I am taking a bit of approach which is a little non-technical in nature. It is such a pleasure working with the bunch of people who interact, and it's not just the bunch of people in terms of a couple of folks who interact with the organization, but the entire organization, from all the way to Mike, to Varun, to Jeff, and to the account manager who works with us.
Exactly.
And it doesn't stop there, even to the technical solution architect. You won't believe when we were doing the migration, the way the team sat with us and did the POC for us. It was amazing, and that gave us that assurance and confidence that it's not just today, even when we will be on our journey and way to kind of implement certain things, this team will be there covering us, covering 100%. Our back. So that's one in terms of the people part of how Qlik as a team stood with us. The second part, which was more around your question, what was that question around?
So it's more about the data culture. Right?
The data culture. Yeah. Now, with respect to how the tool per se is shaping the data culture within the organization, I can't tell you on the month end as a sales organization, and every organization has something or the other which they are selling. So on the month end, we wait for that 12:15 or a 15-minute mark past the midnight, because the report is auto scheduled for that time, and if it's not gone there, once we changed the time for some reason, and we started getting calls that we haven't received the report, that's the dependency. The point is nothing about else. The point is about that's the level of dependency. And I think, to cut the long story short, the workflows that have got created, every department, it's not just sales, it's marketing, it's supply chain, it's warehouse management team, the way that every team has started depending or have created their workflows, everyday workflows around these Qlik reports, Qlik dashboards, Qlik curated workflows which we have.
Right.
We call them automated workflows. So their everyday life is kind of sequentially aligned with the Qlik reports and dashboards.
True.
That's one part. But what has happened, which is a much larger part as a leader of the organization, which I see is it has built the culture of data curiosity.
Exactly.
And I think data curiosity as a culture is a much bigger thing to see in the organization, and everybody feels very empowered to ask the questions,
right,
which then results into deeper insights.
Yeah, no, I love those insights and thanks for sharing that. It also, like you mentioned about something which is very important when it comes to, you know, if you are marrying a solution, you need to make sure where the teams are very much equally giving it back to you, where, you know, even if it's a CEO or a technical, you know, solution architect who can help you get the results, but at the same time, again, the teams internally are actually dependent on something which is making their lives easier and faster. So I think that's a good partnership that you all have with Qlik. So that's awesome.
Yes.
I'm kind of also curious to know a little about what is next at Ather Energy in its partnership with Qlik and data strategy more broadly, if you would like to share something.
So with Qlik, of course, because Qlik has a lot installed, and very honestly, when we got a new tool, and that's true for any tool, when you onboard a tool or when you onboard people alike, a lot of first phase goes in just getting them onboarded. So you're just managing the hygiene.
Right.
The second part of the phase is where you start performing certain things where the BAU or business as usual, the routine task starts happening. And third is where the tool or the people start performing.
Right.
And every phase has its own cycle. People have probably slightly shorter cycle depending upon their experience and the complexity of the role. Tools can have slightly longer sometimes depending upon if it's an ERP solution, it could be much longer. If it's a BI solution, you expect that to be faster because you are bringing in a BI tool to make things much faster.
Right.
So it can be a little shorter, but yet data tools, you and I, we know, having met and working with such people, that the data cleanliness still continues to be the biggest challenge. Because there are human elements at the point where the data gets generated and collected. That's the part and parcel of this nature of this function. So that's where probably some of those things are to be spent and time. So once that is done, there is still a lot that tool has in itself. For example, we are yet to explore Qlik AutoML. Now sharing with you like things which are there. We have a lot of plans around embedded and augmented analytics.
Nice.
So those are some of the tools which we saw back here today. But they have been as a part of Qlik repertoire since some time. So we are now on our journey to kind of scale them up and use them within the organization.
What I'm kind of also hearing is, you know, you all have took one step at a time when it comes to the partnership as well. From the point of view of Ather Energy, where, oh, you're not going to go all in, but as the need arrives, we're going to go much more in depth with Qlik, because we are now seeing, you know, more solutions that are actually applicable to something what we are working on. So it becomes like a very interesting story, and then it's tried and tested as well, where you've had like so much success with Qlik, and now it kind of makes sense to, you know, get much more in depth with AutoML or other solutions that they have.
True.
Okay, fantastic. Ankit, this was such a pleasure. And, you know, obviously all the great insights that you've shared is definitely going to help our audience. One last question that I have is about if folks want to reach out to you, learn more about, you know, the things that you're doing in this space, about Ather Energy, where can they do that? Is it LinkedIn, Twitter, any place where you're most active?
LinkedIn is the best place. They can always reach out through LinkedIn. I'm usually very active. Would probably address whatever queries they have. So
fantastic.
Happy to answer.
So you all know where you can reach out to Ankit. And once again, thanks for sharing all the great insights, Ankit. Such a pleasure hosting you today.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.